Hello, and welcome to the SAF Audiovisual Cast, where we, SAF, connect and share information from top university officials, faculty, and administration directly with SAF students and parents. Thanks for joining us.
First, I'm your host, William, with SAF and IES in Chicago. Our guest here today represents the University of Arts London as a study abroad development manager. Hello, Mr. Ashley Palmer.
Well, hi, William.
So Ashley, I'm going to do a quick intro and then hand it over. As I understand, you perhaps studied abroad at the Complutense University of Madrid, as well as the University of Leeds. And you've also, it's seemingly specialized in study abroad for arts schools, having worked at Central St. Martin's, also top art schools, I should say, having worked at Central St. Martin's and now the University of the Arts London for more than 3 years. Could you elaborate and tell us a little bit about your background?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So I started my world of study abroad in Spain and Madrid at the Complutense, the University Complutense, whilst I was studying in Leeds. And that's, I think, probably where I kind of got the bug for study abroad. I think as many people have in the industry, I believe you studied in Beijing
Right.
as well. So that's where I got it from. And then I've been working at UAL and at Central St. Martin's, which is part of University of the Arts London, for a good number of years, about 15 years, if you can believe that. It's a long time. And so during this time, we've really grown study abroad, short courses, our language programs for international students, and particularly for Chinese students. So my background is in international, I would say, and doing the exchange in Spain. And I've been fortunate to really kind of stay in an industry where we can meet with students and professionals from around the world and develop links with universities across, and particularly in China. So yeah, it's been great so far.
Wonderful. Okay, so maybe tell us a little bit more about your job, your day-to-day, and also what makes you like it.
So my day-to-day is liaison with our partner universities, study abroad providers, our staff, our teaching staff, and our students. So, I mean, it's a really varied job, and you are dealing with students and from staff from around the world. So, I enjoy the international aspect to it. You're learning about new cultures. I think that's amazing, particularly being in London, which is a diverse city. You meet everyone. B, it's a creative environment. You know, you see new things every day at the colleges, and surprising things from fine art students, fashion students, design students, performance, theatre. There are always new things to keep you entertained and to keep a passion going. So it's not a typical office environment. It's rather unusual, and I like that. So that keeps me going, I would say.
Certainly. Now, you mentioned you're based in London, in the UK. There's a couple of special locations there. Now, first, I suppose the UK is very popular and very popular with many of our students. Why do you think that is?
Well, yeah, why is the UK one of the most popular destinations for international students in the world? Particularly London, because it has so much to offer. Because in London, you have the world in a city, you have everybody, everything, you have constant inspiration as an artist, as a designer, as an actor, as someone in communication, in media and film. You are constantly stimulated. So it's a very vibrant city that has a lot to offer to people of all ages, particularly young creatives who want to study here. So yeah, I think it's an exciting place to be.
Thank you for that, Ashley. Now, you mentioned creatives, fashion students, actors, actresses. You're representing the University of the Arts. This is quite interesting as a set of offerings that are for students of a specific area of study. And you're one of the top schools in the world for this. It would be great if you could just introduce the school and its history a little bit for us.
Sure. Thank you. So University of the Arts London is ranked number 2 according to QS rankings for art and design worldwide. And the number 1 happens to be Royal College of Art, which is postgraduate only. It's also in London. So University of the Arts London is the largest of its kind that's specialized in the creative subjects in Europe. It has 6 colleges and 3 institutes. So it's a huge network, which is a big benefit for students to come. Those 6 colleges are Central St. Martin's, Chelsea College of Art, Camberwell College of Art, Wimbledon College of Art, London College of Fashion, and London College of Communication. I remembered everything. And so it's an amazing network for students that want to connect to other creative students in a specialized environment. So each college has its history going back about 100 or 150 years and is firmly embedded in industry. So it's really like the number 1 choice to go to if you want to specialize in those subjects and to really kind of go deep into them and use the research centers, use the expertise of our tutors and connect with the best students from around the world. So yeah, fantastic network with a lot of history in London.
So changing course a little bit, as an everyday person, it would be fun to hear from you something interesting or exciting to do on campus.
As an everyday person, yeah, there's a lot of fun activities kind of outside of the regular courses. As I mentioned before, I mean, every trip to campus is an experience. There's always something happening, a film, an exhibition, student events. Something that we have that is more general is our huge program for social events. It's called UAL Social. And it's an award-winning program, one of the best in the UK for running events. That's cinema nights at the university accommodation. It's food, street food parties. There is a big, huge Chinese New Year party that happens at Central St. Martin's, which gathers students from around the world, and we have a celebration of Chinese culture in the college. So there's many events, so many events that I can't really list them all. But yeah, check online UAL Social, as well as the Students' Union. So there's a lot of social events in addition to the academic side as well.
Okay. Now, regarding academics, because we're talking about arts design students, maybe it's something that's different than a typical university. I'd like to ask you, how does UAL connect London or connect to London and the global arts and creative community?
Well, yeah, I mean, good question. As I mentioned, UAL's colleges, those 6 colleges are embedded in the history of design, of art, of creative industries for more than 150 years. It's a kind of fortunate situation we're in where a lot of students do well when they graduate, go into industry, and then employ our students. And we have a sort of virtuous circle and relationship with industry. So it's part of industry. It actually drives industry. So a lot of other colleges may be reactive to industry. We have students graduating on the fashion courses that are actually changing industry. And this is something that I really enjoyed, working at UAL, which is that they really ask the students to challenge the industry, to really say, look, this is what's not right, and not to copy industry. And conversely, or weirdly, the industry likes this approach because they don't want to be doing the same things. In terms of fashion, you have to be inventing yourself all the time. You have to be having the best, the brightest, the quickest kind of minds to help shape yourself. So they like our students to challenge them. And consequently, there are a lot of industry-led projects, which we call industry briefs, where students will work on projects with industry on sustainability or various different topics. So So yeah, it's really been a key driver in the industry through its graduates and through its connections for many years.
So imagine studying design or fashion in London with UAL is a dream for some of our students. What advice do you have for such a student to help them get the most out of their time?
Yeah. I would say UAL is a dream school for students that are passionate and creative sector, and it's different to other institutions because of its specialism in creative subjects. You're surrounded by creativity. It's all interesting and it's all inspiring. Fashion students inspired from the drama center or ceramic design or product design, and they're all working together. I would encourage students to really kind of enter with a new, to be excited and to be open-minded, because the experience is wonderful, but it's also short, and they really need to take advantage of all the different opportunities that they have at UAL and in London, and to have fun as well.
Certainly, thanks for the answer. Now, students can also study. They can study the creative industries, specific areas of study with you for a short period. They can also study English for a short period of time. And what would make studying English at a place like UAL different than studying English somewhere else?
Yeah, thanks. So firstly, it's British Council accredited. So there's a sort of gold standard that the English courses have to adhere to. But studying English in sort of the art school environment opens students up to the vocabulary that artists and designers use, and is really sort of tailored towards that world. So it's a different experience than maybe a plain English course, and there's a lot of courses that actually mix English in the morning with an art subject in the afternoon. So it will really kind of build confidence for creative students who need a kind of boost in their English level. So it's really English from that creative mindset and improving vocabulary, improving how you might talk about your work in a critique, in a class environment, which is not something that's easy for international students. So that's a kind of the focus of the language offer at UAL. And there are new offers, this little plug, new offer for online IELTS preparation with UAL as well. So that's how it is, yeah.
Exciting. So very, very interesting as well. So someone that's joining the global creative workforce, this would be a very compelling offer to study within a global creative university.
That's right. And also the English is taught with a sort of British mindset, so they can pick up a nice British accent compared with your American accent.
So there's two benefits.
It's a second benefit, yeah.
Wonderful. So what is the ideal profile of a let's say the ideal profile of a UAL short study or study candidate, and what qualities should that student have to succeed during their time?
I think students need to be self-motivated, and they need to be passionate about their subject area. I mean, they have the opportunity to study something that's really interesting, and so they need to be driven, passionate, motivated to get the most out of the experience. In terms of applying to UAL courses, generally they need to show how they think and process as much as a final result. So UAL is a lot about experimentation, being open-minded, being not afraid to make mistakes, encouraged to make mistakes. So I would say in the actual application process, there needs to be a demonstration of research and of a creative process, and of trying different things. So that was a bit of a long answer.
That's appreciated. In more practical concerns, once the student arrives, we are talking about studying in a different location, a different city, country, etc. What services are available to assist students?
Yeah. So, I mean, first, I mean, London is considered a safe city. We have UAL housing, our accommodation network, 24-hour security on the accommodation. We also have things like the Students' Union, the UAL Social that I mentioned before, a lot of support activities through the union in the Society for Chinese Culture, for instance, or even sports and things like that that can support students on their sort of social needs, as well as counselling services that is typical at universities. So a well-being service for students. If students are homesick or need, to speak with counsellors, there's a health service on campus. So there's a really, in my view, a very big support network that students can use and are encouraged to use when they're at UAL.
Ashley, we have obviously gotten together today representing SAF and UAL, and in fact, while it may not have been me personally, you've been working with us for some time through Carol and others. It would be great if you could share a little bit of background or your take on our working relationship.
Well, thank you. I think it's fantastic. So UAL has been working with Study Abroad Foundation in Asia since 2007, and 13 years. And a lot of that relationship's been through Carol and her staff. And I would say, we really enjoy working together, supporting the students. I think we've had 57 students coming over from the region on our study abroad courses and a lot more on our language programs. So it's a really valuable relationship that we've developed and kind of grown over the years and worked with more partner institutions across Asia. So it's a very rewarding partnership.
Thank you for that. Now, I want to cover something. Obviously, today, everybody's more comfortable with Zoom, and it's because a lot of us are working from home. And that's due to the ongoing global pandemic with COVID-19. While each of our own individual or organizational situations have some things in common, they are unique, and I think our students and potential students or parents are quite interested to know what's going on the ground in your neck of the woods. How have things changed, or how has the University of Arts London responded?
In terms of my neck of the woods in London, a lot of us, including me, were working from home. University, the subjects went online in our spring term, as a lot of our international students went back home, and that was obviously a big challenge for our staff and for our students needing support, and moving a whole curriculum that is taught in an art college online is just been an incredible challenge. But students rise to that challenge. So there's been a fashion show which has connected students from around the world, and to produce a digital showreel which has had huge exposure, actually more than we've had before. So we've had to transition teaching to online digitally very quickly, using some of the resources we already had and almost inventing new ones or grabbing onto new opportunities. On a practical level, the administration staff, we are mostly working from home. Our university accommodation is open and is supporting students with any needs or any health needs. There's kind of care packages and food support. So Yeah, and a lot of things are happening online. Obviously, like the Zoom meetings, the UAL social events. That's all gone online. It has created some opportunity, I would say.
Thank you for that information and sharing with us. Very interesting, and people truly appreciate it. We also don't like to finish completely on such weighty news. So I'd like to change course a little bit once again and hear from you a little bit about some of your individual interactions with China. Specifically, let's start with one of our favorite questions. Can you tell us about your favorite Chinese dish or cuisine?
I like a lot of Chinese food. I like hot pot, not too spicy. I've been to Chengdu, where the hot pot is very spicy for me, being a British person.
Would you be willing to give our future students a recommendation on campus of where to go, whether it's Chinese or other food?
Sure. I mean, there's a lot of places. There's a Malaysian place. It's near to Central St. Martin's. It used to be a secret, but now it's not a secret. So I can tell people. It's a Malaysian place, and it's called Roti King, and it's so cheap, and it's so good. It's so tasty. It's delicious. Roti food and with the bread, the chana bread, the fresh. So there's always a queue of students from different universities and people from around London. That's one place, but there's many others, particularly in Chinatown and also Queensway. I don't know if you're aware of that area. It's the original Chinatown of London before Chinatown. And there's Turkish restaurants there. There's Chinese restaurants there. So there's so many areas.
Now, anything else you'd like to share with us today before we finish?
So we have scholarships available for our study abroad students. We have 4 scholarships a year of £1,500 for students to apply. And that application is based on a creative application where students have to talk about their home university and present a visual project or an audio project. So maybe make a short animation or a film or a fashion collection or some sketches. And it's to capture the spirit of their university and to talk about it visually as a project. So you can find more details through SAF, but I just thought it was a good opportunity to help students to apply through our scholarship program for study abroad. I would like to say to our future students, Huang to University of the Arts London. We look forward to welcoming you to the UK and supporting your application. We look forward to continuing the good work with Study Abroad Foundation, helping students come to the UK for many years and supporting students whilst they're in London.
Thanks so much for your time today, Ashley.
Very welcome, William. Thank you.